I always thought my family was solid, normal, at least. My dad works long hours at his company, always providing, always kind. My mom stays home more now, says she wants to focus on herself lately. At first, it made sense. She's always supported Dad, so I figured she needed time. But things started feeling off. It was little things. She'd change her phone password. She'd jump when it buzzed, rushing to answer it before anyone else could. Sometimes, she'd leave the room just to talk, and when I'd ask who it was, she'd smile too fast, say, "Just a friend," and change the subject. That smile wasn't the one I grew up with, it was forced. Tight. Like she was trying to hold something in. Then there was the perfume. I know it wasn't hers. Too musky, too strong. Not her usual scent at all. The first time I smelled it on her coat, I figured it was someone else's by accident. But it kept happening. I didn't say anything. Just noted it. Stored it away like a puzzle piece I didn't know what to do with yet. She started dressing differently, too. More makeup. New clothes. Things I'd never seen her wear before. One day she was humming in the kitchen, smiling to herself like she had some secret joke playing in her head. I asked her what was so funny and she said, "Nothing, just a good mood." But it didn't feel real. It felt like something she wanted me to believe. Dad didn't notice. He'd come home tired, tell us about work, kiss her on the cheek, and she'd smile back. Like nothing was wrong. I tried to convince myself maybe I was just imagining things. That I was being paranoid. But that didn't last long. A few days later, I was walking past this cafe after school, the one my parents used to go to when they were dating. I looked through the window because I thought I saw her. And I was right. She was sitting there, laughing. But not with Dad. With someone else. A man I'd never seen before. He leaned in close, and she touched his hand like it was the most natural thing in the world. I just stood there, frozen. My heart pounding, my mouth dry. I didn't know what to do. I walked away, fast, before she could see me. My head was spinning. Maybe it wasn't what it looked like. Maybe it was some innocent thing. But no one laughs like that with a friend. Not like that. And not at a place with so much meaning. That night at dinner, she acted normal. Smiled. Passed the potatoes. I couldn't even look at her. I felt like a stranger at my own table. And that's when I knew something was going on. Something real. Something big. But I didn't know if I should tell anyone. Especially Dad. I couldn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her with him, smiling, touching his hand, like she was living a second life I wasn't supposed to know about. The next morning, I tried to act normal. I wanted to believe maybe I misread it, maybe I was overthinking. But deep down, I already knew. I started watching her closer. Every move, every call, every shift in her tone. One day when she was in the shower, I picked up her phone. It was locked, of course. But when she left it on the kitchen counter later, I caught it unlocked. I didn't hesitate. I opened her messages. I shouldn't have, but I had to. The truth was waiting, and I needed it. There was a contact saved as Lisa G. I clicked it. Not Lisa. Not even close. It was him. The guy from the cafe. There were texts going back weeks. Flirty, personal, intimate. Things no married woman should be sending anyone but her husband. I scrolled through them, feeling sick. I miss your touch. Last night was perfect. Let's go away for the weekend soon. And pictures. Nothing explicit, but enough to confirm everything. I put the phone down and walked away. I felt numb. Not just angry, but betrayed. She lied to all of us. To Dad. To me. She pretended nothing was wrong, like she hadn't already left us emotionally. I didn't know how long it had been going on, but it was long enough for it to become normal for her. That's what hurt the most. At school, I couldn't focus. I'd zone out in class, just hearing her words in my head. Imagining what she was doing while Dad worked his 12-hour days. Wondering if that guy had been in our house when we weren't home. I started pulling away from my friends. I didn't tell anyone what was going on. How could I? Who do you even talk to when your mom is cheating and your dad has no clue? I avoided her when I could. Stopped sitting near her. Short answers. No eye contact. She noticed, but she didn't press. Maybe she already knew I'd figured it out. Maybe she thought I wouldn't do anything about it. I thought about telling her I knew, but every time I imagined it, I froze. What would I even say? Why are you doing this to us? It wouldn't fix anything. It wouldn't undo the damage. I looked at Dad differently too. Not because he'd done anything wrong, but because I knew something that could break him. And I hated that I had to carry it. Every time he smiled or made one of his bad dad jokes, it made my chest hurt. He was trying so hard. And he had no idea that everything he was building was already burning behind his back. I wasn't sure what was worse, knowing the truth or not knowing what to do with it. I kept asking myself the same question every day. Should I tell him? Should I look my dad in the eye and rip his world apart? I played out every possible version of that conversation in my head, and every one of them ended badly. What if he got angry and didn't believe me? What if he did believe me and it destroyed him? What if he stayed with her anyway? I couldn't predict anything, and the not knowing made everything worse. I tried talking to someone about it. A friend I trust, someone who's known me for years. I told her everything, and she just sat there for a long time before saying, "Are you sure you want to be the one who breaks the news?" I wanted to scream. I wasn't the one who broke anything. I wasn't the one sneaking around and lying. But I understood what she meant. Once I said it out loud, everything would change. And maybe not in the way I wanted. Every day, I watched my dad come home and hug her, ask about her day, make small talk about the news or the weather. And she smiled back. She lied like it was second nature. I wanted to hate her, but I couldn't. She's still my mom. That's the part no one tells you about betrayal, how confusing it is when the person doing the damage is someone you love. I tried confronting her once. I walked up to her while she was folding laundry and opened my mouth, but nothing came out. She looked at me, waiting, and I just asked where my socks were. That was it. I couldn't do it. I felt like a coward. I hated myself for not speaking, but I couldn't bring myself to open that door. Not yet. I even thought about writing an anonymous letter to my dad. Just print out the texts and leave them somewhere he'd find them. That way I wouldn't have to say it myself. But it felt wrong, like I was hiding again. And I'd already had enough of lies and silence. I started keeping a notebook, writing down everything I saw, everything I felt. It helped a little. But the more I wrote, the more pressure built up inside me. I wasn't just afraid of hurting him. I was afraid of changing everything. What if the family never recovered? What if he changed after this? I didn't want him to be angry, bitter, or broken. Sometimes I told myself to wait. Maybe she'd stop. Maybe it was a phase. Maybe she'd come clean on her own. But every day she didn't say anything just made me more certain she never would. She wasn't sorry. She was just careful. That's the difference. And still I waited. I stood outside his office door one night, hand raised, ready to knock. I thought, this is it. But I stood there for 2 full minutes before walking away. I wasn't ready. Not yet. But I knew I couldn't keep quiet forever. The silence was starting to eat at me. Every moment I waited felt like I was betraying him just as much as she was. I couldn't carry it anymore. One afternoon, I sat across from her and said, without emotion, "I know." She didn't pretend not to understand. Her face changed instantly. Fear, then guilt, then exhaustion. She didn't ask what I knew. She didn't try to lie. She just said, "I didn't want you to find out like this." I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just asked, why? She gave the typical answers. It's complicated. I didn't mean for it to happen. It started when your father became distant. All I heard was excuses. She wasn't even trying to deny it anymore. She admitted everything. The man she was seeing was someone she met at a friend's event, and it had been going on for months. She said she still loved Dad, but didn't know how to fix things. I told her she needed to tell him. She said it would destroy him. I said keeping it from him was worse. She begged me to give her time, said she needed to figure out how to do it. I gave her 3 days. I told her if she didn't tell him by then, I would. She didn't argue. Maybe she knew I was serious. Maybe she finally realized this wasn't something she could keep hidden. Those 3 days felt endless. Every conversation at the dinner table felt fake. I watched both of them so closely, her, trying to act normal, and him, completely unaware that the ground beneath him was about to break. I wondered if I'd regret it, if I was doing the right thing. But the truth is, there's never a perfect way to ruin someone's illusion of a happy life. On the third night, she told him. She asked me not to be in the room. I respected that. I sat in my own room, listening to the muffled voices. No yelling. No broken glass. Just a long, quiet conversation that stretched into the night. When I came out, Dad was sitting alone on the couch, eyes red but dry. He looked at me, didn't say a word, just nodded. And I knew he knew. After that, the house changed. They weren't angry around each other, just quiet. Distant. Civil, like strangers in the same space. A week later, they told me they were taking time apart. Not a full divorce yet, but they were going to figure out what came next. Therapy, maybe. Space, definitely. I didn't say much. There wasn't anything left to say. I thought I'd feel relief once it was out. But all I felt was empty. I hadn't fixed anything. I hadn't saved anyone. But at least it wasn't a lie anymore. That counted for something. Now, things are still uncertain. They talk, but it's formal. Dad's different, quieter, but still trying. Mom's around, but distant. I don't know where it's all going. But I do know one thing. Hiding the truth doesn't protect people. It just delays the pain. And I'm done with silence.